Hi guys, welcome to the GMV Podcast, a new episode. We got a special topic today, but first I'm gonna introduce Michelle.
Hi guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for following us, and we're excited to bring up this topic today.
Yeah, so today is a special one because it affects a lot of women that we've seen, and and it's really sad that there's men out there that think that, showing their macho side or try to be over dominant of a woman and belittle them, in order to control them. I think those people are really cowards because from what I've seen, they only do it to people that they know they could take advantage of or that won't fight back. And I think that's kind of like bullyish. What do you think?
So we're talking about how women get abused, you would say? Mm-hmm. Like from narcissistic personalities, men that like to take pride in controlling a woman that can do that financially, physically, emotionally. And I would say it's not just men. It could be women too.
Yeah.
That can do it. Because I've known of women who've done that, unfortunately. So that's what we're talking about today. Like you said, there could be grown-up bullies.
I think that's what they are, because I just hate the fact that they do it to, like their spouses, right?
Right.
But those what I've seen, my perspective, right? I've seen men, they do it to their spouses, but when they're with other guys, mm-hmm. they're like the least dominant person. Like they outshine themselves when they're with their spouse, right? But if you catch them alone, they're the most cowardly people in the world.
Right.
And the only reason they will act up is if it's in front of the spouse. But and when they try to match that energy with somebody else who will match that energy, they usually cower down to the point that they'll be like, hit me. They expect you to do it because there's certain people like there's some sort of engagement. They're the first one calling the cops on you. So they'll instigate that, and then kind of try to take you out of the picture in a way. But when they're alone with their spouse or whoever they're abusing,
right?
They have all that energy to like even put hands on that person because they know that person's so scared that they won't even call the cops.
I think it boosts their ego to have the woman be scared of them, and it helps like build up their pride or whatever. What is it that? Well, that is what it is that makes a narcissist. Kind of having power over people and kind of being like, the top out of the two, and abuse them in different ways where the person can't even defend themselves or think for their own.
But also too, when they say they're in a relationship, they box them in. They'll slowly make you burn out your bridges with other people, family and friends. And so you're solely dependent on them. So if you were to, let's say he's abusing you, right? Or mm-hmm. she, they'll separate you from your family to the point that you're solely dependent, relying on them.
Yeah.
So you're like, if I break this off, where am I gonna go? So you feel trapped.
Right.
And then sometimes those people, the victims be like, you know what, this is my reality, from now on.
Yeah.
And it's really
this is my normal, because maybe they don't know. It
normalizes after a while. It does normalize.
And they don't know that that's not the way a relationship, or the man in the relationship, in this case for a woman, has to be, or like it makes him look like, oh, he's the leader, he's, the provider to, that's maybe what the women think, like this is the way the man is supposed to be, with all the power. But
I don't think, see, being the leader is about respect. right? Let's say that's a relationship, you know, because, you know, there's no two presidents in a way, but there's also a respect between your spouse, you know? I don't believe there's an argument and you start cursing at your spouse or anything like that, you know? A heated argument, you know, you gotta relax and, you know, because you may say things you don't mean, you know, in the heat of the moment. But those people try to act like leaders by belittling the other spouse.
That's true.
You know, and that's not how you're supposed to react or have some sort of, you know, understanding with them, you know? Don't grow yourself by belittling the other person.
Right.
And it does, after a while, it does normalize, and you be like, you know what? This is my normal life. Yep. And when you tell that situation to other people, and the other people you tell it to, they're like, hey, that's not normal. Right. And they question themselves, you know, they're like, well, it is normal. Oh, it's not. Yeah. You know, but that's because you had so much abuse that you think, you know, that
it's been, because I don't think it just starts off right away, kind of like, you know, right away, like he's 100% controlling you. I think it starts slowly, like,
see, like what he got away with,
like, hey, yeah, I don't like you talking to guys or having guy friends. Don't have guy friends. Hey, I don't like you wearing certain clothes, or, you know, or I don't like you, you know, saying certain things, or, you know, I don't like you going to the store, or, you know, I don't like your aunt, or, you know, stuff like that. I think that's how it kind of starts. You know, it doesn't just come all of a sudden.
Some may be justified, you know, that they were like, you know, let's say that I don't like this person. But there becomes a point where they're isolating you from everybody. Right. Everybody's your enemy. You know, then, you know, you're going to be stuck later on. And that was always, I've even told you before, don't be solely dependent on one person. You know, you also, you know, grow up, you know, grow your wings, you know, learn different trades, because, you know, don't give all that power to one person. Don't be so dependent on one person. Right. But those people don't tell their spouses or whoever they're with to grow. True. You know, they probably call them, hey, you're dumb. You're not going to amount to nothing. Oh, this is why you need me.
You're lazy.
This and that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because they want that power. Slowly, they want you so dependent on them that whatever they do, you got to deal with it. And then they may mask it like, oh, I love you. So they may treat you like, you know, like crap. And then they mask it, you know, I did this because I love you. Like I've seen domestic violence of situations. Like, I do this because I love you so much. Right. That's not love.
No, it's not.
You know?
No, it's not.
And then, you know, it's really sad that there's so many women out there, especially women with kids.
And it's sad, you know, for the woman, because we look for love in men. You know, we look for that loving, you know, a loving relationship. Like, we romanticize more than men. And, you know, we might take this treatment of that we don't realize that it's wrong, you know, and then it happens, or, you know, whatever happens, like emotionally or, you know, physically or whatever, the abuse, and then we think it's wrong. But then the person turns around and is like, oh, I love you. Like, then we kind of forget about it. You know, we kind of brush it off. And then the cycle starts again. And then we don't realize it. And it's sad, because for men, I mean, men look to be respected, you know, I think from a woman and from, you know, in a relationship, but women look for love and
protection,
and to feel that, you know, that protection to feel that comfort. And it's sad that they think that they have to go through these, you know, struggles to feel that, you know. So I wonder how a person becomes a narcissist.
I think it's because, I don't know, I've seen that, like, the people I've seen like that is because they got bullied when they're younger, and they get a little bit, you know how there's certain cops that they get bullied and then they become cops and they become tyrants.
Yeah, like they want
the power. You know, all that, they get like, Like you give them I've also had like people I've worked with that they're regular workers.
Okay.
And then they become into a supervisor, and they get a power trip.
Yeah.
You know, because now people have to respect them.
Okay, I've seen that.
Yeah. But you know, people don't respect you by belittling them. You know,
right?
That's not how you get respect. You start getting people start hating you. But see, when there's a spouse, you know, there's domestic violence and all that stuff. You're not being a leader by belittling them, because a leader leads. You know, a leader leads. They teach you how to so you can grow as well.
Yeah.
You know, because there may be a time where your spouse gets sick and you have to step it up.
Right.
But imagine if I belittle you and I get sick or whatever, you're not gonna have the confidence to grow yourself in the world. You're not gonna have the skills.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yep. Because you never had that support from your spouse.
You're gonna be scared of the world.
You're right.
You know that,
right.
And people don't see that. You know, especially those people that, you know, treat women like they're some sort of like a pet or like object.
Right.
Yeah.
This is really sad. This is a sad topic about all this abuse going on, because I mean, you've seen it, I've seen it. I've seen it in friendships, like girl on girl friendships, where the girl is not necessarily abusing, but in a way, yeah, because like we're going to do what I want to do. Like we're going to do, and then, you know, like I've seen it, you know, firsthand. And I don't think it's just men with these narcissistic personalities. I think anybody can have it. And I think it builds over time ever since they're little. You know, I think it has a lot to do with the way they were treated by their parents, if they were ignored and they just, you know,
I think if they relates to childhood, walls. Everything relates to childhood, and you know, that's why, you know, when you learn your parents' mistakes, you know, and be like, you know what, I'm not gonna do. I think as a parent, you always gotta learn from your parents' mistakes. You know, and don't blame your parents either, because they did what they could.
Exactly.
They did their best, you know.
Yeah.
But you know better. You know, if you get hit,
you want to recognize what they did wrong and not trip over the same rock.
Yeah, and you know, 2 rounds don't make it right.
Right.
You know, so but people sometimes, you know, they see their dad being abusive to their mom, and they're like, you know, I'm gonna be like my dad. No, you should see your mom struggle and be like, I'm not gonna be like him.
Yeah, I think it could go both ways. I think that they can be like their dad without even thinking it, and then, or they can look at their mom and be like, I'm not gonna be this kind of person. But
like you said earlier, there's also women that there's really nice guys and they belittle them,
right?
You know, and they're like, hey, you don't got amount to nothing, this and that,
right?
Oh, you're not a real man, this and that, you know. Oh, I talk to you like this because you're a coward. Well, it goes both ways, you know, but from my experience, been more men towards women than women towards men. Yeah. But I've seen both cases though.
Well, that's true. I've seen both too. I think I've seen both pretty even. All right. So what do you think that this domestic violence solution would be?
Always have family support. If you're family and you see that, don't be like, oh, you know what? It's their business. Oh, you know what? She chose the guy. Because sometimes she's dealing with that because she doesn't have an out. Especially if she has kids. If you have kids, she's like, I don't have no skills. Because that person won't let you have skills. Won't let you go to school. Won't let you grow or this and that.
Yeah.
So she's going to feel trapped. So of course she's going to take the abuse. It's easy for us to judge somebody else. Like I said, like me, let's say, if I talk smack, but I will go to that person and tell them, this is how I'm going to help you. I try to bring a solution.
Okay.
Like, you know, I don't just like, whatever I say.
Like judge and not do anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
So whatever I say, I usually go to that person and tell them straight to the face.
Straight up.
This and that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to help you, but you still got to step it up.
Okay.
Because sometimes it's really hard to get to the person. They're like, you know what? You're going to have to cut out that person.
Yeah, the abuser.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's hard for them because that's all they've known.
That's true.
You know, and it's really frustrating sometimes. But, you know, as a family, you don't need to give up on family. Because God forbid something else happens around the line, you'll be like, you know what, I could have helped that person.
That's true. I feel like a lot of people are always in the position of helping and they don't. And that's kind of sad.
It's easier to criticize than to help.
That's true. And everybody's always like, well, that's their problem. I'm not going to get involved. I don't want any issues. I'm not, you know, I'm not suited. I'm not, but like we're supposed to help each other all the time. Like we're recognize when someone's in need and not just be like, oh, I'm sorry for you. Rather than, you know, you should reach your hand with whatever you can help with, try to open this person's eyes and see, you know what, this doesn't look right to me. I don't know about you, but, you know, this is my perspective, you know, and maybe they can start kind of saying, hey, you know what, like maybe you're right. Because like I said, I think to get in this hole, it takes time. You know, it's not just from one day to another where this person is like, you know, stepping on you and mentally and verbally abusing. I think it goes really slow. And then by the time that you want to reach out for help or you think that there might be something wrong, you're going to be too scared.
And people have maybe turned their backs because that person wasn't manipulating you to burn your bridges. True. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, you know, for me, man, let's say I have my kids, right? Mm-hmm. Later on, if they get to a spouse or whatever, and their spouse like, oh, no, I don't talk to your dad, and that. No matter what type of beef I have with my kids, mm-hmm. that will always support them. Because they're my kids I don't stop being a dad when they're 18. Right. I don't stop being a dad when they're 30. Right. I don't stop. The day I stop being a dad is the day I die. Mm-hmm. But from then to then, they always have my support, no matter what type of issues we have. Mm-hmm. You know, even if there's, God forbid, like one of my kids is a drug addict or whatever, and he's stolen from me 1,000 times. I'm always trying to get her help because people like this that are abused this bad, they are kind of like an addict. Because they repeat a cycle. I mean, an addict is a person that repeats a cycle, right? Yeah. So, you know, and they relapse and then they, you know, they try again and then they, you know, they fall for it again. So, I mean, we can say that these people are addicted to their abuser. Because the dependency, no?
Yeah, because it's a codependency. Right. So the same way that, you know, people get frustrated with people who, you know, relapse and then, you know, they say they're clean and then they, you know, stop drinking and then they go again and, you know, and we start to lose hope on this person. But that's not what God wants for us. He wants us to recognize and be the helping hand for these people, because we claim that we want a good world, a clean world. We want to help the environment. We want to, you know, do all this stuff. But when we're faced with an issue where we are like we're placed there to help, it's hard for us. And it's easier for us to just judge and be like, well, you know, their family didn't help them, or they relapsed again, or she went back with him, or whatever. You know, or I'm not going to get involved because he's going to come after me. Or, I mean, that's like, I don't know, hypocritical.
That is
right.
I would say if you're going to say something about a person, always try to find a solution for them. You know, Don't just be criticizing that you shoot him in the back and walk away. You know, that's not how it is. If you shoot him, go help him. Like, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, whatever you preach, try to find a solution for that person. You know? Yeah. Because what's the point of criticizing? All you're doing is talking smack about that person and walking away. Yeah. And later on, God forbid, something happens to that person, you'll be like, you know what? Maybe
I could have done more. Yeah. I could have done more. I should have done more.
Whether that spouse or whatever, you know, harms that person or they harm themselves in order to escape. Mm-hmm. You know, because that's a real thing. Yeah. You know? They get their backs turned, like nobody loves me, this and this. When the people, you know, they hit rock bottom and they don't have no sort of support, That's the worst thing ever. Because things go left real quick.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then I always try to say, like, but you also got to be with that person. You also got to be like, you know, I'm going to help you, but this are the rules. You know, you also got, because those people don't have structure in their life. They're drowning. So you got to put a platform for them to step on. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Don't just see them drown. But they also got to respect it. They got to stay. And then they may fall 1 or 2 times, but you also got to, you know, don't give up on them. Right. You know? Right. Because when they're so weak, they until they finally get their feet and they see a new reality, a new world out there that is abuse free. Yeah. But it's also hard, like I said, when women have kids, when kids are involved. Yeah. And then the guy controls their money and this and that. Yeah. They were like, you know what? How am I gonna do this? Without no family support, no friend support, no money. Who's gonna take care of my kids? You know what? I'm just gonna put. Usually they think I'm just gonna take this punishment from me. Yeah. You know, and that's when family or friends are supposed to step in. You know, if you really want to escape, I'll help you, but you can't really go back with this person. Right. Right. Gotta make a choice. That's the hardest part. It's a scary choice for them. To make the choice. It's really hard when you have to, you know that you can't go back to your drug. You know, that this is like your last kind of, what's it called? Like, what am I trying to say? There's also sometimes where they see that abuse, and you know what? I'm going to stay with him to make his life miserable. So his what? They'll be like, you know what? I'm going to stay with this person to make their life miserable, how they make mine. Then they start abusing each other. See, this is cycle. There's going to be a point with the abuse. The abuse is they're going to, you know what? Two can play this game. Yeah. Exactly. And it's a controlling issue. And then they won't let each other go. True. You know, they'll be like, hey, you did this to me? Okay, now I'm going to do this to you. That's true. There's a cycle, and the kids see that. Yeah. And I think as the parents, you know, we got to break cycles. Yes. Especially us Hispanics. In Jesus' name, we break curses and cycles and strongholds. Yeah. So I wanted to talk about, has there been a situation in your life where you've seen this firsthand, where you can give an example to our audience about? Yeah, I had an ex of mine, right? The relationship was closing, and I had gone to this party to celebrate, you know, one of my birthdays. And this person was so mad that were you with her, or what did you say? No, we were living together. Okay. So, but it was one of my birthdays, right? But you guys weren't together? No, we were just, because we had an apartment together. So you guys were roommates? Yeah, kind of. Roommates. But we were in, you know? So, because we had just gotten that apartment, you know. But I went out and partied with my cousin. Who you seen in other episodes. And then I came back, and then he was really upset, you know, that I had spent my birthday that she was supposedly waiting on. But I just remember I didn't want to argue, so I was like, you know, I want to go to my mom's house. Okay. And then that person rushed towards the door and grabbed a knife and tried to slash me. You know? And then at that point I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna sleep in the couch. You know? Was that the first time that she became physically aggressive? No, that wasn't it. No, because before she would hit me when I'd be laying down, but I would just, like, you know, cover myself and like punch you? Yeah. And then for being upset with you, or or would you do anything to get her? She'll get upset with me because she was a really jealous person. Oh, jealous. And then I remember too, one time there was a thing with one of my family members that they had gone to jail. Okay. Because something, whatever. And then she's like, you know what? I could just call the cops right now and tell them that you hit me. I'll hit myself and call the cops right now. and tell them that you hit me so they could take you to jail.
Why would she want to do that? She was mad?
Because I was breaking up with her.
Oh, you were breaking up with her. So she was doing like a, what is that tactic? Like,
she was trying to scare me, saying that I'm going to press charges if you break up with me.
Dang.
Yeah, I knew at that point that I can't stay with this person because, she's going to get me.
It's not going to end up good.
And then, and also the bad thing that in this society, sometimes the guys don't do nothing and they believe the woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, there's no perfect system, but I'm saying there's a lot,
Yeah.
And I will never hit a woman because I respect them too much. I respect my mom and stuff. I mean, I'm not, I'm not a perfect person, but I've never gotten physical with anybody. Mm-hmm. I've never called a woman, bad. I don't curse them out or nothing like that.
Right.
But yeah, so, I don't know. It was one of those things that I knew I had to get away from that situation. Otherwise,
That's good that you saw the red flags because you were with the narcissist, technically, from what you described. Maybe jealousy is part of one of the traits. Or maybe jealousy can make you do all these things that look like a narcissistic personality.
There was points where I'll be walking on the street, right? And I'll be like, you know what? Just looking around. When you walk on the street, you look around. Mm-hmm. And then she would see some girl across the street. Uh-huh. And she said, why are you looking at her? To that point, it was that jealousy. You
couldn't look places because you would get in trouble.
Yeah, and so, but I was young, so I didn't really pay too much attention and this and that. But I'm also blessed that I went through that because it taught me a lot about responsibility of paying bills and this and that.
Okay,
and,
that's
it
good.
taught me for later on also, but it taught me what type of woman I don't want to be with.
That's true.
That's
true.
But, there's also been other situations where I've been with other girls, and then they see me somewhere with somebody else, and then one of them trying to run me over one time. Sorry, guys. I like them crazy sometimes.
So it's not just men, it's women that...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember I was walking, and our hero was like, I turned around, I was like, oh, snap.
And why was she running you over? Because you were breaking up with her?
She saw me with another girl. I had already broken up with her.
Oh.
And she saw me with somebody else.
How long were you guys fresh? Like, broken up?
Maybe 2 months.
Oh, that's not that. Wow.
Yeah. But, in a way, I was kind of her first.
Oh. Still, that doesn't make... That doesn't justify the running over.
But back then,
did she run you over, or did you?
She tried to run me. I got out the way.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, I got out the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe she tried to scare me and miss. I don't know. But I ain't gonna stay there. But she, I heard the screeching and with the.
Wow.
But but also tell me what type of girls I don't want to be with. But back then, I grew up in Chicago. In Chicago, that's kind of it to rowdy girls,
What? Can you explain that?
Rowdy means like tough.
Tough, yeah.
You don't want a weak girl sometimes, you don't want to. But back then, it's different now. I'm older now. I don't want to deal with that drama. I've seen so many friends and dealing with that. I'm like, I like my peace.
That's funny.
Did you ever have an experience with violence, domestic violence?
Unfortunately, yeah. I had a really serious relationship, a lot of years, and I slowly started seeing. I wouldn't call him a narcissist. I don't think. I would just say he was like extremely jealous, and I started seeing like red flags, like, I don't want you to do this. I don't want you to wear this. I don't want you to, sleep over at your friend's house because I don't know what you guys are doing or, who's there. So certain things I became less freedom I wasn't allowed to have a girls' night because, if we would go to a bar or wherever, I wasn't allowed to be at a bar by myself, or not without him.
Is that because of culture that he grew up in, or?
I don't know.
Or was it because he was like jealous? Do you think?
I mean, you did talk about like this macho stereotype, which I feel like maybe he was a little bit, but like he wasn't a bad person. He just when he would tell me like, you're not allowed to do this, or you shouldn't, or I don't want you doing this, I don't want to see you doing that, or even saying that, like I would think like, oh, he's just really jealous, or or he's gonna get better, or I always thought that it was just because he was a jealous person. But I would tell him like, hey, you're too jealous, and at the time I had a close friend, guy friend, and it got to the point where he confronted him, and I was so embarrassed. He was like, oh, like, what do you want with her? Da da da. Like, I know you're not just her friend for no reason.
You went up to him?
Yeah, at a party. Like, we had a friend's party, and then he did that. And I was really embarrassed. I was like, please ignore him. Like, I didn't think he was going to do that, but I guess he saw that. He just saw us. I mean, it was a party. Like, we were just talking. Like, it wasn't a big deal. But it was a huge deal to him. Like, he saw firsthand that I had like a close guy friend, and he did not like that.
But why did he create that drama? Yeah.
I think.
What did he see that was so bad?
No, it wasn't. We weren't like one-on-one, like in a separate room talking or anything. Like, we were talking within the party.
But what triggered him? I guess.
I think just seeing like us talking. Because we weren't even talking.
Or anything like that?
No. That I remember, no, because I wasn't allowed to hug guys. That was like a condition that was placed before, a rule that was placed before. So I wasn't allowed to hug my friends, even though they were my friends.
Sometimes when I feel like I've never really been a jealous person, but I've seen that when you have really self-confidence of yourself, especially a guy, everybody's turning to you.
It's true. Yeah. That's true, because in my eyes, he was way more handsome than my other friend. So, like, I mean, like, if he couldn't see that the other guy was not a threat, and like, it just has to do a lot with your confidence.
I feel like if you're self-assured, you have confidence, let's say you were really flirting with that friend, right?
Right.
And that's your loss. Then you just cut it off, and that's it. Mm-hmm. You don't need to be creating all these rules, and because if somebody wants to be with you, you don't need to be doing all this stuff.
Right. And there's freedom in their relationship when it's real, and when the person does love you and the person does care about you. They don't put all these rules for you to follow. That's not real. That's not a real relationship. Yeah, and then you start being careful. I started to be careful about what I did. I started kind of, and it, like, there would be red flags and stuff, and then I would talk to him like, hey, I don't like how you're telling me to do this or that. And then he would kind of soften about it, like, okay, you're right, I'm sorry. But then something else would happen, and then, he would place another rule. And then something else would happen, and then he would place another rule.
Did you place any rules for him? And did he break them?
Yeah, once since he told me I wasn't allowed to hug guys, I said, okay, you're not allowed to hug girls. And we went to different schools. So one day, my friend called me. She's like, hey, I saw him hugging another girl in the middle of the hallway. And I was like, that's weird. Like, he doesn't have girlfriends like that. So I confronted him about it, and it was true. Like, he walked this girl to class. I don't know why. I don't remember who she was. And I was like, okay, like, you're the one that made up this rule, and you're the one breaking it. So I'm only not hugging my friends, because that was like a thing back then, and And I'm not doing that because you told me not to do that. But here you are, you get to do it. Like, you know. So anyway, fast forward, the relationship lasted years, and until I kind of like had enough with all these red flags, kind of like, and I started feeling like I didn't love him as much anymore because of this. I mean, I did. I just didn't love the jealous part of him.
You think, but you think, let's say you would have stayed with him, you know, longer and, you know, everything. Do you think it would have got to the point where...
I think so.
Where he would have...
Yeah, that's why I broke it off, because at the end, you know, a certain part, something happened where he became, like, he switched. Like, he became...
Now the person you met?
More abusive. Like, I really triggered him, and then, like, he talked to me differently, and he, like, belittled me with his words, which is something that he hadn't done, and he scared me because he did, like, something inappropriate, but just the words are what really, like, hit me, and I was afraid of him that day. And I hadn't been afraid of him. It would just gonna be annoying. Like, it would be annoying. Oh, you can't do this. I'm jealous of this. Or, you know, I would be like, okay, like, he's annoying. Like, his jealousy is annoying. But this time I was afraid. And I was so afraid that I had a panic attack, and I went into like shock. And until I got home and I like cried it all out, the next day, you know, he came to look for me. And I was afraid of him. It changed. It snapped in me. Like, hey, died that day? Like, no, I still loved him, but I was afraid. Like, I was afraid that he wouldn't change.
That's kind of what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
You know, everything we said, you kind of, you know, you like, you know what? You started little by little. Like, yeah.
It's true. Yeah. That's why I kept saying that it starts little by little, because I don't know where the relationship would have been, how it would have been.
And did he ever get violent with you? Or aggressive?
That day he got aggressive. Yeah. That's why I was really afraid of him. Or I got really afraid of him because he switched. Like we were fine. And then something happened. He didn't like something, and then I was just like, you know what? I don't think I can do this anymore. Like, I don't think I can follow all these rules, and this is not love. Like,
when you know, did you tell your friends about the rules and what they say?
Yeah. All my friends were really supportive of them.
Of the rules?
They didn't see anything wrong with them.
And when you told him, when he got like aggressive with you and everything, you told him? Did you tell them? Or?
I told all my friends. I told my mom. I told everybody. And to be honest, people didn't believe me. They didn't believe me. I kind of want to cry. I remember my mom said that it was just going to be like, that it's fine. Like, well, he's not like that. What did you say to him that pissed him off? Like, why is he? Yeah, like, kind of like, what did you do to cause that reaction from him? And I was like, no, like, but listen to me. Like, listen to me. I'm scared. Like, I don't know if I can be with him because I'm so scared. And it was just this one thing. You know, it was just the first time that I saw him get aggressive. You know, he didn't hit me. I feel like he wanted to. And he said, well, do you think I'm going to hate you? Do you think I'm going to hate you? Do you really think that I could do that to you? But just by saying that with this tone and this anger, felt like he really wanted to. You know, it was kind of like he was reminding himself, like I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not going to do that, you know, and he was telling me that out loud and yelling it, you know, and I I don't know. Like, after that, I told my friends and everything. He came to look for me at work, and I was hiding. I saw him from far away and I hid. And I told my friend, and I was like, please, if you see him, please, like, you need to come after me, because I was that afraid. Like,
you got a little PTSD
I was like,
after that.
Yeah. And he waited for me outside my job.
And did you forgive him, or?
Yeah. I stopped talking to him for like 3, maybe more months. 3 to 5 months. And then I missed him like a lot because I loved him. And after that, I slowly started talking to him. He said he was changed. Like he's been waiting for me. He's, deeply sorry, Like in the meantime, like he brought me flowers, even though we didn't see each other and stuff. Like he would write me like nice text messages, leave me voicemails, like how sorry he was and all this stuff, and how it was just a spur of the moment kind of thing and stuff like that. And I didn't believe it until I really did miss him. And I really did feel like this was just kind of like a one-time thing. He could change. Like, he's not going to be jealous anymore. Like he promises, stuff like that. And then we started slowly being friends again. He would ask me like certain questions, like, are you dating? Are you seeing any guys? Stuff like that. But we were friends. This was about a year later. And like, I wouldn't really answer him. Like, I would be like, no, like, but I could tell that I was still afraid of him. I couldn't talk about like, oh, I'm dating this guy, or, or how are you doing with your, girls or whatever. He would tell me about certain girls and stuff, but he said he was never interested, stuff like that. But I couldn't tell him about guys because I was too afraid of him. So if he asked me, I would lie. I would be like, no, I'm not dating anybody and stuff like that. So we were friends for, a good 9 months after that. And then we started dating again. And we only lasted like 3 weeks because he was the same. And
so he messed everything. How was he the same?
It was like,
you got to that point again? Or?
Yeah. Yeah. I since I recognized everything, I was really cautious this time. So I told him, like, these are my terms. I don't want to be controlled. I want to be allowed to do whatever, wear whatever, say whatever, be friends with whoever. I want to be free to do whatever I want to do, and the way that I've been living on my own, without you. But I still want to be with you because I love you. So he agreed. He's like, you know what? Yeah, I have been too jealous. Like, I was wrong. I am really sorry, and I will change. So I believed him. And, a week went by, and then I think he asked me, like, how many guys did you sleep with while we weren't together? And I was like, why would you ask me that? Like, I was like, that's irrelevant if we weren't together. And he couldn't shake it off. And then, the next week he would ask me like something else, like something to do with like, oh, did you date this guy, or did you whatever, or did you go on dates, or, stuff like that while we were not together. So
I think that's a new, because I went through that too. So I had a girlfriend, and then when she told me how many people she slept with, I was like, she slept with more people than I did. And I was like, oh shit, what the, like, I was like, that hurt me, because it made me feel like she had, like, let's say, a couple more people than I did. Mm-hmm. And it felt like she had that fun, and now I'm stuck with this girl. So I could see his point of view, but after I realized that, and we had broken off, I just went, and that changed me too, because there was a point in my life where I used to start sleeping with a lot of girls, trying to catch up to that number. Mm. So that's an ego thing. That's like, but you don't learn that doesn't matter, because just because you slept with more people or whatever, or it shouldn't matter,
right?
You guys weren't together.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think that's with a lot of jealous people who are jealous and really do care about what you did when they were not around, which doesn't make any sense. it's wrong. But I've seen that in jealous people. And yeah, and I saw that.
Sometimes there's guys that will weaponize that against you.
And then, and then after that, like, I was like, you know what? Cut it off again after like 3 weeks, because I recognized all the signs. And when we got back together, it was like the signs were a lot faster. Like it was like slow, like really fast going into back to where we left off. Like where it had taken years, this only took days. Like it only took 3 weeks for me to recognize, like, oh, I'm falling in that hole again. Like I can't, like, and I deeply loved this guy so much, but I knew in my heart that I couldn't let him do that to me, because I loved myself more, and I knew my worth. Thank God that I knew my worth, and I knew that being like that and feeling all that, like, you know, all those rules that I couldn't break weren't making me happy anymore. You know, I still felt like he did love me. And I would sometimes tell myself, well, it's because he loves me. That's why he's jealous. It's because, you know, like I'm his, and, you know, he loves me, you know, stuff like that. And I would have to like kind of convince myself about that. Like, well, you know, he says I can't have my guy friends because, you know, he loves me and he wants me all to himself. Like, well, that's a guy thing. Like I would tell myself, no, like that's just a guy thing, you know, but it took me to go through that to realize that it's not just a guy thing. It's a problem with whatever they either grew up with or they saw in their home, or if it's a narcissistic personality
or it's a culture
disorder, or if it's like
or
a Hispanic culture thing, and it's really sad. But that's also stemming from what you saw growing up. No, like kind of like how you saw your parents.
Because you know, I grew up with my stepfather, right? But I don't think he was jealous. But I didn't really grow up with, like, let's say my dad, you know. So I never. Maybe that's why I'm not jealous, because I never.
You never seen your dad.
Or my stepfather, you know, God rest his soul, right. Do that. I mean, he did have his, you know, character. He would get really mad sometimes and stuff. Mm-hmm. But when he used to get mad at my mom, that's the thing I thought, I'm not going to do that whenever I have a house. And, you know, I've never done that. I never belittle nobody. I never, you know.
Yeah. And I think sometimes for us women, I think we have to go, I think for you too, we have to go through these relationships that God places in these relationships to learn from them, because when we choose the person who we want to have kids with, who we want to marry, we have to make sure that they don't have the qualities that the other person had, you know, and thank God that I was blessed to have an amazing husband who isn't jealous, who doesn't, you know, control me, put me rules, set me times, set me, you can't do this, you can't do that. I've never experienced that. And thank God, because I was able to recognize, you know, before I fell in the hole, to recognize that I was falling in the hole, you know, because I think back, I look back and I'm like, I could have easily been a domestic violence victim. Because when I told people, like, my best friend wanted me to go back with him, my mom wanted me to go back with him, everybody wanted me to go back with him. Because we were together for years. And I mean, we were really happy, and people saw how really happy we were. Some people realize,
you know, it just comes with the territory. You know?
What do you mean?
Like, the people you told, they probably want to be like, you know what? That comes with the territory. You know, sometimes the guy gets mad and this and this and that.
Yeah, like I said, well, what did you do as a woman to make him upset? You know? That can be also like kind of Hispanic masculine culture. Like, ¿qué hiciste tú? You know, para hacerlo enojar.
I don't care if it wasn't my daughter or my son telling me, hey, this happened and I feel really scared. I'm going to do something about it.
Right.
You know, like you always see, for me, I will always have my kids back. My family, I was given the benefit of the doubt, you know. You know, even if everybody's telling me this is blue, but I see green, he sees green, I see green. You know, that's my kid, you know.
Yeah.
But I also, you know, I gotta be wise enough to tell him when he's messing up. You know, let's say I was your father, right? And you told me that, hey, this happened. I will talk to the boy.
Right.
You know, hey, you can't be doing this to my daughter. Mm-hmm. This and that. Or if I was your mom, you know, hey, you know what? Forget that guy. Because once they start doing stuff like that, it's just a trend. You know, I got away with it once, and she forgave me. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just a trend. You know?
And you know, I was gonna say, because what we were gonna say next is what they taught us, and then ways to look for help or signals about, you know, when we see people going through this. It was funny to me that when I was going through this, people around me who were really close and who knew him and me didn't see it, right? They didn't see the, you know, so-called abuse. But when I told my coworkers, right away, I got support.
From strangers in a way.
Yeah. Like I told my coworkers, like I was like, hey, you know, my ex is here. It was the next day. Make sure that he's not next to me. Make sure that he's not near me. And I was working in a retail store, and I went in the fitting room to hide from him. And then I came out and I asked her if he left, and she's like, yeah, I don't see him. So, but I spent my day kind of hiding my days because he knew where I worked. But you know, she wasn't the only one who I told. I told a couple of them. Every day of my shifts, I would be working with different women, and I would tell them like, hey, this happened, you know, this happened with my ex. Like, and they'll be like, really? Like the one that you were with for such a long time? Yeah, that one. Yep. And they'll be like, okay, like I'll keep an eye out. Like, and most of them knew who he was and stuff like that. So like, I got support from, I found someone or several people to get support from, even though it wasn't my immediate family. It wasn't my best friend. It wasn't my circle of friends. It wasn't anybody else. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't until later that I got more support but immediately when it happened, I didn't. But it wasn't until I was serious about leaving him because of how the gravity of the situation that I thought was really bad. Right. And then they started seeing like, oh, you're really serious. Oh, then was it really serious then? Tell me how it happened again. You know, tell me how it made you feel again. You know, and that's kind of when I started saying, well, this happened. But before that, this had already happened. And before that, and then they kind of started realizing slowly. And since I didn't go back with him until after a year, they knew that it was really bad, you know, but immediately all my circle, they didn't support me. Not my family. Nobody.
That goes back to our point. Imagine that was years in the making, and then you finally want to get out.
Yep.
And then that's when you're gonna feel drowning, especially if you don't have kids back then.
And I didn't have kids. Yeah.
And imagine you had kids. Mm-hmm. How you gonna do it?
Yeah.
Then the people
I couldn't see that.
There's people that be like, you know, you really gonna break up your family? Mm-hmm. That's how they get you.
Yeah.
And then that brings my other point. Like, it's really hard for a single mom with kids for other guys to treat them, you know, correctly.
Single mom with kids. Yep. You know? For another guy who's she's starting the relationship with.
Because I mean, I'm not saying there's no guys out there that would treat you good, but the majority would just use you for sex.
Yeah.
Because imagine when you become a stepdad or a stepmom, you get all the responsibility, but none of the authority. You're responsible for that kid's clothes, food, housing, medical. But you don't really have the authority to lecture them. Yeah. Because I will feel the same way when they say, if I ever break up, whatever, and then somebody else is lecturing my kids, like, hey, those are my kids. But that person's there with my ex or whatever, I would feel so, and he's paying for the housing and this and that. Yeah. You know, it's like, you get the downside of everything. I'm not saying there's no good guys out there like me personally, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't be with somebody who has kids because I wouldn't want. I'm not taking care of any other kids that are not mine. Maybe call me selfish or this or that, but I just feel like, you know, I'll be shooting myself in the foot. And I'm not saying, I'm not saying there's not guys out there that are okay with that and being that step route. Maybe they're better men than I am, you know, and shout out to them, but I don't think I have that in me, you know, and that's what sucks, because, you know, sometimes family will tell you, you know, leave him, and you do leave him, but they don't support you,
right?
You know,
yeah,
because at that point you're drowning.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes it, and when you think about that, just the thought of leaving this person that's abusing you mentally, physically, or whatever, you know, the alternative is more scarier than him.
Yeah.
Because then you have to figure out how to work your housing, especially when your family doesn't believe you or friends.
Yeah.
And that's why you should, you know, if you see somebody out there, you know, with those domestic issues, try to help them out, you know, even if you like, you know, they may get back together with this person, but always try to do the right thing. It's always harder to do the right thing. You know, if it was easy to do the right thing, they would be doing it. But, you know, like when there's an accident, you know, nowadays, people take out their phones right away instead of helping. You know? And that's technically what people are doing when they see domestic violence. They look and they walk away. When you're, let's say,
someone else will help them.
Yeah. But sometimes, you know, and then
why help when she's gonna go back to him?
And the thing about this world, there's a lot. Everybody likes a lot of sympathy.
Yeah.
You know, mm-hmm. Sympathy is something really rare nowadays. Because there's always hidden motives, so people think there's hidden motives, and especially like me, like, you know, before, like when somebody would help me, I'd be like, you know, what are you trying to get at? You know, what do you want from me later on? Like, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But it's hard to be genuine and believe people are genuine with you.
Yes.
You know, because it's a bad thing to say, you mistrust everybody. Because there's a lot of betrayals, you know? But that's another topic for another day. But I would just say,
what's your tip?
If you see somebody who's, you know, domestic violence or physically, mentally, so most of the times, you know, maybe not be physically, just mentally scarring person, and that's the worst thing. Here, like, you'll heal from wounds faster than you will heal mentally.
Yeah,
because of mistrust.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
you gotta mistrust men, or you gotta blame all men for everything, or all women for everything.
Yeah,
you know, like me, like when I broke up with that person, I you know, I mistrusted and I went haywire. You know, like
yeah,
you know, I was just like. Yeah, but
yeah. So let's there's always help before it's too late, right?
Yeah.
We can agree with that. And we should always be the ones not just judging, you know, standing from afar, but we should always want to help.
It's easier to talk than to, you know,
and believe when they, you know, talk to you, and, you know, kind of not be that circle that says, oh, like, it's just a fight, you know, or it's just, you know, this is part of it. You guys are already, you know, how many years in? That's why, you know. Well, no, it doesn't matter.
And like I said, it could happen to men too, you know.
Yeah, men and women.
And a lot of men won't do it because they'll get, you know, made fun of. Oh, what? Your girl hits you? You don't want to see that, you know. Yeah. You don't want to. You know, oh,
they're ashamed. They're ashamed. Yeah. There's a lot of shame that comes in that, right?
Why you don't got the balls to like stand up to her? Mm-hmm. But if they still stand up, like the things that guys always in the loose end, if they're gonna, let's say, abuse, because they could just turn it on you, you know, like they try to turn it on me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, guys. So this is what we have today. This is abusive relationships, and we hope that this message got through to more than one person, because there is an underlying message here. And 1, you're not alone if you're going through this. 2, there's help. 3, be that help if you can. What else?
And it's always scary to jump ship, but, you know, once you learn how to swim, then it's a lot easier to get to the island, you know? It's easier to get to another ship. My mom says something in Spanish, you know, todo tiene solución menos la muerte. Everything has solution except death. Some way, somehow, you're going to survive and you're going to get through this. And we want to give you this number in case, you know, you're one of those persons watching, one of our viewers.
Yeah. We're gonna put it in the comments.
Do you want to talk?
Yeah, you can.
It'll be 800-799-7233. I repeat.
That's the national hotline for domestic violence.
800-799-7233. And please, even if you don't want to talk to them, we're always here. This is a podcast. We talk about different subjects, but if you're too scared to call the hotline, shoot us a message, on the page. We'll try to reach out and see what resources we have to help you out. Because I know it's scary, and you're not alone, and you know your worth.
Yeah.
You're not slave to nobody, and
And then, kind of like with my example, I talked to many people in my circle. It wasn't until I stepped out of my circle that I found support. So speak up. Don't be ashamed. To speak up. If you have
kids, also think about your kids. You don't want them to be living in that cycle.
Yeah, that cycle.
That may create another cycle.
Yes.
Boys may see my dad mistreats you. Maybe that's how a man should be.
Yeah.
As parents, we gotta break cycles.
Cycles. Yep.
That's what we are.
Break everything strongholds. In Jesus' name.
And you're strong, and you're gonna get through this. Whoever's you're going through that situation. And we're a small page, we're a small platform, but we're here. You shoot us an anonymous message, even if you make a fake Facebook or whatever. We're on YouTube, GMV Pod. We're on TikTok, GMV Pod.
Facebook. Or they just say Facebook?
Yeah, they just say Facebook. Just send us a message. We'll try to help out. And like I said, this podcast, we talk about different situations,
social issues, or our own stories.
Sometimes we have fun episodes.
Yeah, and, this was a more serious one.
Yeah, because it's something that I think it's a message that needs to get out there.
Yeah, because it not only has happened to us, but might help other people. So
thank you again for tuning in.
Thanks, guys, so much, and subscribe.
And I'm sorry for the audio for the other episodes. I think I got it working now, right?
Yeah, we're a work in progress, definitely, but one step at a time, baby steps. We're building this platform up, and and hopefully God is guiding us, and hopefully we can reach out to a lot of people, not just with this topic, but maybe other topics too.
Yeah, for sure. And my job's gonna get busy soon, so sorry for the if you're not as consistent, but we're at least gonna try to shoot at least 1 or 2 pods a week.
Yeah.
No matter what, that's the goal. And if you guys want to say any topics you guys want to discuss, so we can research and talk about it. Whatever you guys want to discuss. Whether it's housing, how to buy your first house. We got experience with that.
Yeah, maybe.
We got experience with taxes and stuff like that. From our opinion, but. Yeah, guys. Shoot us a message.
Yes. And, comment, like, share, subscribe, help us out, help us grow this page. That would be awesome.
Yeah, and thank you for the support.
Thanks, guys.
One of my videos got 50,000 views.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
I appreciate you guys, and have a good night.
See you guys.
Bye.